the Overman Warrior Podcast.
Hi, it's Rich Hoffman here. Hey, let's talk about rich people. A lot of talk was about the Trump visit to China, where there were a lot of billionaires, over $1 trillion worth of billionaires on the plane with him, showing off the American economy and people who make it up by going to China with Trump. And that all those billionaires, all the socialists out there are like, the people need more power. We need to take away money from the billionaires and give it to us. We'll do better with it. I can tell you, I know a lot of people. I know a lot of rich people. And I know a lot of people have hit the lottery over the years. I know a lot of people. A whole lot of people. There's a casino near my house over in Monroe. People go over there all the time. And they play the slots. And I know a lot of people who have had $25,000 payouts, $15,000 payouts, and they get a big check and they stop working overtime. They stop doing all the extra stuff. They quit their second job. And the question always comes up, well, should people have to work a second job? If you got billionaires riding on Air Force One with Trump, that we pay for that plane, what are they doing going to China and cozying up with a communist with Xi Jinping? Well, let me tell you something. China is a paper tiger. They rely on those billionaires to have any kind of economic expansion. Trump brought them over there to show them he had leverage over them, really, that he has control over the economy and their economic expansion. And if they want to play ball, if they want those billionaires to bring industry to their country, because they're not generating on their own, they need those people to bring industry to them. If that's what China wants, then you bring them on your plane to show them you have control. When China comes to America, they don't have a bunch of billionaires flying with Xi Jinping, because they rely on the American economy to spill over into China to have their growth. That's why they haven't outpaced the United States yet as economic growth. They do the things that we don't typically want to do in the United States. That's how the Chinese economy has developed. And that's why so many billionaires were on the plane going to China with Trump. Now, we voted for Trump largely because he was a billionaire. He was independent. People who are rich are people who have created things. And if they are rich, it's because they were successful at creating things. Back to the people who go to the casinos and blow all their money, they get a $15,000 payout or a $25,000 payout, or $50,000 or $1,000 or $1 million, $100,000. I know people who have had spouses that died that had hundreds of thousands of dollars in insurance collections, and guess what? That money is completely gone in 2 years because they're bankrupt personalities. They don't know how to spend money. They're addictive personalities that blow a lot of money on dumb things. I know a lot of rich people, and they don't blow money on dumb things. They spend money on growing and creating more things that make more money. That's why they're rich. And that's why those billionaires are wealthy. That's why everybody's eating out of their hand. And that's why if you took the money from them and gave it to poor people who are bankrupt, people who barely can't feed themselves or balance a checkbook, can't decide whether to pay their PlayStation account or buy a bag of groceries, people who really are just bottomless pits of consumption, they're going to, if you give them money, they're just going to blow it. They're never going to be rich. They're never going to use money wisely. That's why billionaires are billionaires and other people don't have it. And they're always out there screaming for socialism to confiscate, through the power of government, wealth from rich people to give it to people I would call parasites. People who are not mentally inclined to wealth creation. They certainly aren't job creators. They certainly are parasites to society in general. And you go to any casino and you'll see them all over the place. And the minute that they get a big payout, they're like, okay, now I don't have to work. Oh, I had my parents died, or some family members gave me an inheritance. I all of a sudden have a lot of money in my bank account. I'm going to stop working for a while. I'm going to take a year or two off and sit around and watch daytime television all day long in my underwear. No wonder they're poor. They blow through their money. They go out and buy cars. I've known people who won big paydays at these casinos. They go out and buy a Corvette, and they live high on the hog. They go buy themselves a trophy wife, and they live a Playboy lifestyle, and they're out of money in about 4 months. And then they're back to saying, hey, you got a job? Hey, can I work? Hey, can you find me some money? Hey, can you call somebody? Get me something? Those billionaires that were on that plane with Trump, including Trump himself, what they have in common is they perpetually generate wealth. They go out and they create opportunities that other people benefit from, and that's why they're billionaires. And when they get a little bit of money in their pocket, they don't blow through it just to get rid of it, because they have addictive personalities. They hang on to their money. They make the money work for them. They're creators, not consumers. That's the difference. When you talk about all these socialists are out there saying, we need more money. We need to confiscate more money from billionaires. No, you know what you need? You need more billionaires. You need more billionaires on that plane with Trump going to China. Because that's why they were celebrating, oh, Trump, well, let's do a big celebration for you. The American economy we respect, we have to, because we depend on it for our sustenance. Because we do all the jobs you don't want to do. Because you guys consume so much in the United States, you make our economy possible. That's the secret sauce from China. That's why everybody talks about Xi Jinping sucking up to Trump. It's because the American economy garners that respect, and they want more of it. The reason they haven't outgrown the American GDP is because we have farmed out just a little bit less than we needed to them to do. That's why their economy has not outpaced our expansion. We want to continue to expand the American economy. We only have 300 million people to do any kind of thing in the United States, and there's not enough jobs to go around for the economic expansion we're talking about, which is $20 trillion plus, $30 trillion, $40 trillion economies we want to see built by those kinds of people that are on that airplane. So you want more people creating billions of dollars. You don't want to have a bunch of looting personalities that blow money every time they get a dime in their pocket. They blow it quickly, because that's the kind of people you're talking about that you want to go to socialism, the Bernie Sanders types, the Ocasio-Cortez types, the bankrupt personalities that tend to be bartenders and bottom feeders in life that will sleep with anybody because they want personal attention. People like Ocasio-Cortez, easy bottom feeders that are like carp. They just eat everything. Those are the kind of personalities that don't manage their lives correctly. They usually jump from spouse to spouse too often. They don't have very firm convictions personally. And when they get a few dollars in their pocket, they blow it in a hurry. And you see it at casinos. Every time you go to a casino, and I can say from personal experience, I've known a lot of people that they come and tell me, hey, I won $15,000 at the casino in Monroe last weekend. I hit the slots, and I went down there and drank all night and kept hitting the slot machine. I spent about $100 and I won $15,000. Aren't I great? I'm going to do that next weekend. They keep doing it, and then they go out and buy themselves a fancy car, or they go out and waste their money on some big, bunch of material items. They buy a bunch of big TVs, or go build a band cave in their house, for $100,000, and then they turn around, they're broke, and they're down at the casino hoping to hit that jackpot again, and that's the sucker game they play. And the government plans to play people like that all the time. That's the Democrat Party in general. That's why they're always out there saying bad things about billionaires, because they want to confiscate their wealth. But the difference in billionaires and people who are rich in general, again, I know a lot of them too. They don't blow their money. They don't waste it on dumb stuff. I can think right now of a multi-millionaire, not quite a billionaire, that I know. And every time I see him, he's got dirty shoes because he works hard. He's always working in the yard. He's always working on his projects. He's always out doing work on sites. And he wears shoes that are always dirty. You tell a lot about a person by the shoes they wear. And this particular multimillionaire is always dirty. His hands are, when you shake his hand, he has calluses because he works hard. He's a very hands-on person in his businesses, and he's creating a lot of jobs for a lot of people, and he builds a lot of wealth for a lot of people. And there are a lot of looters hook onto him so they can cascade and ride his star to their own personal glory. And there's a lot of condominiums that are built in Florida, and I always say that because I know a lot of snowbirds that go to Florida every year. And I never understood people who live 8 months of the year, pre-retirement years, they live 8 months a year in Florida, how they can do that and still have enough income to go out to dinner every night, $100 a dinner on a Wednesday through Saturday, in Orlando or Tampa or the Space Coast. It costs a lot of money to take 2 or 3 people out to dinner, and they do it every night. They live in a multi-million-dollar condo, and they don't work every day. You know why? Because of people like my friend who has dirty shoes all the time. He creates enough wealth that a lot of people live off the wealth he creates. And they live good lives, and they buy lots of condos, and they go out to dinner a lot. And there's a lot of restaurants that stay in business because people like him are out there generating wealth. And you have billionaires who do that on a mass scale. They do it on a larger scale than what I'm talking about with my personal friend. It's the same principle. They don't waste money. When they get a lot of money in their pocket, they go out and start a new business. And when people yak about Elon Musk, probably nobody pays more taxes than Elon Musk. And look how many companies he's CEO of. And what's a CEO? Why do we not like CEOs? CEOs are wealth creators. They create something that generates wealth for a lot of other people. That's basically the definition of a CEO. If you're a CEO, you're a valued person because you create wealth for other people to enjoy. You create opportunities other people benefit from. That's what a CEO's job is, to create wealth. And so we need more CEOs, we need more millionaires, we need more billionaires in the United States, and we need a policy that creates more of them. We should not be chastising them for being on a plane with Trump. Trump was right to take them with him because by them parading behind him, he showed Xi Jinping, the communist country of China, who commands your economy. Here they are, all behind me. Those are the people that make your economy tick, and everybody knows it. And he showed that they were on his plane following him to China for American policy on economics. And that's the leverage. That's why China was out there dancing and greeting Trump with so much respect, where they did not greet other presidents with the same kind of bolster, because they know that their meal ticket rides on the American economy completely, specifically those billionaires. So if you see a billionaire, shake their hand and thank them. They are there. They create opportunities that everybody enjoys. We need more millionaires and billionaires. You don't need a government that uses the power of government to confiscate their wealth so you can give it to more people who are bankrupt personalities who blow through money like it's water falling over the Niagara Falls. And you see them all the time at the casinos. You see them every time they get a little bit of money in their pocket. They blow it in a second. And they get a large inheritance. It's gone in a moment because they are addictive personalities that eat too much. They buy too much of the wrong stuff. They are consumers, not creators. And people who generally are wealthy are people who create and make things that other people then benefit from. And that's why it was good that there were a bunch of wealthy people on the plane with Trump going to China. And that's the leverage ultimately that Trump had, why China was eating out of his hand the whole time he was there, is because they know the Chinese economy depends on those same billionaires to bring any kind of spillover economy from the United States over into China so they can benefit from it. They're not out there making their own economy. They benefit from the market economy of the United States, which only has 300 million people in it. And to have a proper economy at 30 to $40 trillion of GDP, you need a lot more people than who contribute to economic expansion now. You need a lot more billionaires creating means of creating wealth expansion at extraordinary amounts of money. You got to protect your dollar, and that doesn't mean that China's our friends, but they know who feeds them, and that is definitely the United States economy. The people who don't want to work, do some of those jobs, get sent overseas to China, and that's what their entire economy has been built on. They're not out there creating things raw. They depend on the American economy for almost all their cash flow. And that's the truth nobody wants to admit to, especially the socialists who are trying to tax the rich all the time or demonize the rich so they can consume their wealth like all these losers that go to casinos and hit it big and then blow all their money in a couple days. It's the same kind of bankrupt personalities that become socialists and become part of the Democrat Party, who want to grow government to the point where they can steal everybody's wealth through taxation and because they have bottomless pit personalities that can't balance a budget and want to spend money in infinite amounts and can't stand having $1 in their bank account. That's the kind of people who are always saying tax the rich. And we need less of those people and much more wealth creators who are rich and CEOs and make a lot of money and cascade that money into economies that produce at scale a lot of happiness. Anyways, Rich Hoffman here. Share, subscribe, make tomorrow a better day. If you ever read my book, The Gunfighter's Guide to Business, I think you'll love it. Should love rich people. They make the world go round. We need a lot more of them. And have a good day.
In the age of disclosure, you must understand the politics of heaven. Coming soon. Coming soon, the politics of heaven in 2027. A treasure hunt through heaven and all human history.